Wakanda forever. Good evening, everybody. It's the pollinator, and I may end up making two two videos tonight. And this first one is going to be my version of making a flyer to solicit invitations to trans men. I haven't decided whether I'm going to open the door this time to other than black trans men. It just depends on the responses I get and what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I don't know. I have to figure out exactly what that's about. But, so what this live is going to be about, which will be the last Sunday of January 2019 at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. What I typically do is put flyers into groups, to various groups on the platform. Oh, it's for transgender men only. And what I typically do is put flyers in groups looking for men to talk to, and then I create a group chat window for us to discuss the logistics of what we're going to talk about. Basically, I'm interviewing them to see where their mindset is before I say okay and put them in the group chat window so we can talk about the logistics. But so what is this live going to be about? It's going to be about manhood. Now, I want to be very specific because I don't want the kind of conversation where people are putting their taking pot shots at other types of people in the live. I want us to discuss what it's like to, after however many years you've been living either partially socialized as a woman or partially socialized as a man. Depends on your age, depends on the people around you, how much you were supported by the people around you when you were younger. But what that's like to redefine yourself as a man without the help of anybody except other trans men. Some are fortunate enough to have cisgender men in their life that help them with all of the things that we never got when we were teenagers. I know I didn't. And so I'm having to do this, as an elder, let alone the average age being on the internet being in their 30s. And I've, come across a lot of teenagers and a lot of trans men in their 20s and their 30s, and even less so in their 40s, even less so in their 50s, and especially even less so in their 60s. Most of you know I'm 61 years old, and so this has been quite a journey to redefine what manhood looks like to me. The various pieces of it, surgeries, not wanting surgeries, why we do want them, why we don't want them, hell, even down to the mannerisms that we're either paying attention to or we're not paying attention to. You see, when I got on testosterone, it took me about 6 months to realize that, oh my God, I am not a woman, and what am I going to do about that? How am I going to re-socialize myself as a man when I didn't really have any males in my life when I started? So, and I found myself in one group that was for trans men, but the other group was, I was usually a lot of the times the only trans man in that group, which started grating on my nerves. And it was kind of funny to me because before, I loved the company of women, but something changed, and I found the stuff that they talked about to be weird, trivial, to be. I don't want to talk about makeup. I want to talk about nails. I don't want to talk about women's stuff that women talk about. It was boring to me. I wanted to be around men who were talking about things that men do. Oh, and I was also told by my endo doctor, he said, you know what, you're a man now. You need to start doing things that men do to work out their emotions, to work out the changes that happen mentally and emotionally in our beings when we are on testosterone, especially in the beginning, because, oh my God, while the estrogen is decreasing and the testosterone is increasing, there's literally a very strange physiological thing that goes on inside while that is happening. But let's go back to this thing about manhood. You know, I find myself observing them a lot in public. I find myself watching a lot of men. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, whether they're trans men or cisgender men, it doesn't matter to me. Most of them out there that are talking about this happen to be cisgender men. Trans men don't seem to want to talk about this thing called manhood, because we're smack in the middle of it and we're trying to work it out, and it's very difficult to talk about. But this is what I want trans men to get ready for in this live, is to start thinking about the kinds of things that you're going through as you redefine yourself, as you are reborn as men. Yes, we were born as men. For people who do not know, scientifically, our brain, it is not a mental illness, and it's not a defect of character. It's not anything like that, because we're babies when we're born, right? We don't have the ability to think. But our brainwave patterns are that of the opposite gender that the doctors said we were when we were born. They base all of those birth statistics on biology. They base that on your genitals. Being transgender is not about your genitals. It's about how we think. It's about how we feel. It's about things that have nothing to do with genitalia. But most of the freaking world thinks it's about genitalia, and which is why they're attacking us and saying you couldn't be a man if you don't have the genitalia of a man. So I want this live that I'm going to put on in collaboration with trans men is going to be about this. It's going to be about manhood. That's why I'm not going to be interviewing, and I'm not going to have anybody on there who doesn't identify as male, because they're not thinking about the same things that we think about. I went to a meeting that was full of women, transgender women. One of the ladies, I made friends with her, and she said, after seeing me around there about six months later, she said, wow, you even sit differently and you walk differently. I was not aware that my walk changed, the way that I sat changed. I was not aware that that happened. Not that it ended up being forefront of my mind, but it did. Everything started changing. Definitely emotionally, I changed. You know, I became more aggressive. I became more assertive. I became more confident. That does not happen to all transgender men, but it happened to me. But I carried a lot of that in my personality before I started transitioning. So whatever was going on inside of you before you carry into your transition, and then testosterone amplifies it. See, so so yeah, that's what it was for me anyway. Well, we'll find out what it is for some of the guys that want to join me in that live. It will be on the Fucker Book platform, so you do have to have an account with them, so that I can chat with you about what, you know, some of the things that you think that you would like to contribute to this live. So this is the day before New Year's Eve. Yes, I have put out quite a few videos in the last few days. I really should be working. I need to complete a couple of applications to get more funding for my business, but I just wanted to you know, take the time out to fill people in about a lot of things that are going on with me. My last video was more of a smashing success than I thought it would be, especially on the channel that I originally put it on. I had a conversation with my best friend and you know, asked him, was I tripping not to make that video public? So I asked him to watch it and let me know if I was just paranoid or something. He didn't say I was paranoid, but he said, go ahead and make it public, so I did. And then I put it over on this channel. So that's it about the, I can't even see. What time is it? Can't see it. My eyes, well, okay, that's for another video. So this, yes, I'm calling trans men to talk to me on the Facebook platform. If you're on there, you already know who I am. I will be putting this in into trans men groups, looking for you guys, and to see how it goes. Normally, you know, I put a feeler out there and I may get 5 to 10 guys and only 3 actually show up on the day that I'm doing it. So yeah, I overload it like that because I just never know what's going on in people's lives and what will distract them from participating when it happens. I'm punctual about it, I'm on time, and I usually reach out the day before to make sure to see who is going to actually be in it versus what they said when they first contacted me or I contacted them. But happy Kwanzaa. That started on the 26th of December and it goes until I think January 4th. Don't quote me on that. But I'm looking at that holiday as a replacement for Christmas. And everybody have a blessed, awesome evening. And yeah, I got a new t-shirt. It's pretty cool, isn't it? The VA, there's something called a VCS shop that has been made available for veterans and active duty. It might have even been there for active duty before, but they opened it up to veterans. So I got a couple things from them, including this shirt. But everybody, have a good evening.